at full strength, and it may well be needed against this Brighton and Hove Albion selection today. Certainly the toughest test of the season in England so far. Don't forget the exploits in Italy when we make final judgments in a week or two. But this is very likely to be a step up even from the trip to Southampton last week. Here we are today, 70 odd miles up the south coast at the quite awesome home of Brighton and Hove Albion. And of course it is the third leg of the south coast swing for the Garuda Select, with Bournemouth the week before. Not the first visit here by the Garuda Select. They played here in 2019. Brighton won it 3-0. My memory of that it was a lot closer than the scoreline suggested. My other memory is that the conditions were exactly like this. Windy, very fresh indeed, given that we are into April. We are quite exposed, very close to the seaside itself, and the wind can really whip in. But as you've seen immediately here, the Brighton way is to keep the ball on the deck wherever possible. Lotra in the game. Garuda actually made a decision, having won the toss, to change ends given the conditions, and that's very nicely played by Nabil down the side to Lotra. Just a sense that Lotra's beginning to come back to some of his early season form. Difficult week for him last week, of course, having to play out of position. Did stick to his guns, and they've made the best of this situation. Raffley sticking to his guns on the left side as well. Certainly they were claiming the corner, and they've gotten it. So Raffley with the chance to swing one in immediately. Again, just slightly off key with his delivery last week. Diego, I don't think, was really ready for that one. Diego's now telling him where to go with the second cross, and he obliges. That's a better one. It's gone straight through on the wind. What a great start. The wind in the sails immediately for the Garuda Select away to Brighton and Hove Albion. Ferry's claiming it, but they all run out there to Raffley, who delivered such a wicked, wicked cross. And you can see the effects of the breeze today. And what a good tactical decision it was to win the toss and make a decision to change ends. It pays immediate dividends. That is smart play by the Garuda Select. I don't know that Ferry got anything on that. It looks to me, I know he ran away to celebrate and entitled to do so, but it looked very much as though Raffley delivers this. Nobody else gets near it, and goalkeeper Lawrence Ferdinand nowhere. So what a shock for Brighton and Hove Albion. Behind immediately. Here they come to try to restore parity. And Diego just sends it up there. Helped on by Lotra. That is a fantastic start today for the Garuda Select. Here's Harry Mills. The number 3 is Harry Lee. And the number 9, Ronnie Gorman. He's brushed off it a couple of times. I think they'd have preferred the second free kick, you know. Raffley whips it in, and it runs all the way through. We should also mention, actually, that Jose Mendy was in there, where a lot of players wouldn't have had the energy or the will. He didn't get a touch on it. It went straight through. So whether they're going to get much benefit from the wind, it's a swirly wind, but definitely factored into the goal. Let's see how Moulton sets it. Oh, he did set it well, didn't he? But very well fielded by Matteo. Off key slightly last week by his very high standard. And they're going to need him to show up big time today, and that's a terrific start from him. And a very good start all round, all things considered, for Garuda. Charlie Tasker is the right back. tremendous amount of respect, Garuda Select, all across the game in England with their performance level, not just over the course of this season. And a good result here today would only embellish that further and would obviously be the ideal way to set up the grandstand finale next week against Arsenal. Ferre. Mills tidied it up nicely. Forced it down the line for Moulton. Got a lot of goals this season, this kid. Wasn't a great pass back to Mills, but he kept it with a nice little touch or two. Everybody so comfortable with the ball at the feet. This is the Brighton philosophy. You can see that already. And like a lot of the top clubs, everybody at every level is part of the same pattern of development, right up to first team level. Players like Solly March, their ability on the ball. And that's echoed all the way down. And Moulton was on his way through there. Ali, the referee, had a little think about a card here. Ridger again off his feet and tackling as a right back with his left foot first. Very difficult to see how he wins that. A common theme. Ridger certainly had some good moments, especially in possession of the ball, but at times his defensive issues have reasserted themselves in recent weeks. Mills over it. Over the top. Decent set piece. Thumbs up from Yusuf Owusu. Owusu's a former Chelsea player. Rafley out on that left side early on. Nabil did really well there. Got the better of the little duel with the defender. Here's Lotra. Already woken up 1 or 2 with a startling burst of pace. And we're going to stop here to go back to the man who's on the deck. The player in question, Charlie Penman, the captain. We don't like to see any player struggling with injury. So much is on the line for a lot of these young players, especially at this time of the year. I must say I didn't think there was much in the challenge, just an unfortunate coming together.
As he blew the whistle, he got up, didn't he? He started to get out.
Have another look at this. Rafley, another player who's perhaps slightly gone off the boil, but what a great start to the game from him. It was a vicious, curling cross. I think everybody knew, really, it was Rafley's goal. And that's lifted spirits a long way away from here. Back home in Indonesia for the bulk of the boys. I know we've got a huge audience today. And hopefully the Garuda Select are providing a little bit of a lift for the footballing fraternity in Indonesia at this time, given the shock news that the FIFA Under-20 World Cup has been removed from Indonesia. So close to the tournament, we know it's a huge setback, but every faith that the people behind the development of the game in Indonesia will move on from it in the longer term. And of course, many ex-Garuda players have started to make their mark over the last 9 months or so in the national squads, and indeed for the new league champions, as we mentioned last week. And that's very gratifying indeed, I know, for all the energy and the vision of the Mola project to develop the game in Indonesia. Rasul, he could have moved that ball on, should have done. Here's Bashir. Mills, Brighton seeking to pick up the tempo again. It's a great block that by Ferre, stepping up into the middle of the field. And if you do that as a centre-back, you've got to make your presence felt. Looks really in the mood today, Ferry. And what a competitor he is when he has that attitude. Nice and competitive all around so far, Garuda. But it's been worked nicely out to Tasker for Brighton, and Rafferty got a bit drawn across there. Diego doesn't make such a good job of it first time, but again, he sticks to his guns, and the attitude looks right on today. They are right at it, Garuda. They've won another free kick. Long, long way to go, of course, as Des would undoubtedly tell us. Very, very engrossed in the game as he is. Sultan not required to interview during the game, which probably is just as well at times. Garuda blocking all the avenues, very well indeed. Moulton tracked all the way by Ben Mendy. Moulton again. Thought about just whipping it in there to the front. Gulzar drives forward from midfield, really for the first time for Brighton. Oh, it's really good work from Matteo. Good handling, good positioning, and good authority, as you're now seeing. Some of the ingredients that have made him one of the standouts of this season. Nobody can be perfect every single week, we know that. Como's very, very high-class goalkeeper, Alfred Gomez, made a mistake in the Serie B game on Mola at the weekend. I understand that Des has spent a lot of the last few days working with the front men. Video analysis in addition to the coaching about the shape that they make out of possession. Brighton made a lot of headway there, but it was well defended. Also very important to keep the players who've been left out of the starting 11 today involved in the picture, and I know that Des has also spent time doing that with the likes of Rayhan, Ragil and Hanif. Performance level maybe not quite what any of them would have wanted when their chance came last week, but that doesn't mean to say that they haven't got a part to play. There was a little cameo from Dalil last week as well. And especially given the fact that they've played a lot of friendlies normally on a Friday through the season, certainly the second half of the season since coming back from Italy. All these Garuda players have certainly had their chances. Yunus sadly still missing, but everybody else available. And when they do go home in a fortnight, they have certainly learned plenty, all of them, whether they're regulars or not. Hopefully to their benefit. And the good news does keep coming, incidentally. I mentioned the elevation of several players to the national sides. Now this is an interesting one really for me, because the referee stopped the game, as you may remember, 2 or 3 minutes ago when a Brighton player went down. Ben Mendy now down for Garuda. The boss sits impassively, taking it in. Just dangled out a leg there. Brighton built it up nicely here. Really good claim. It's quite a greasy ball. There's obviously been the rain and it's pristine playing conditions here, but the ball's quite lively, as you can see it hop through there quickly. Diego strong in the air. Offside. The other update back from Indonesia. Faiz and Frezi both made their professional debuts for Bayangkara FC last week. As you may be aware, Hockey and Dafa called up to the under-22s now for Indonesia ahead of the Southeast Asian Games next month. Terrific. And 8 other Garuda Select alumni already in that squad. And well done also to Dafa, who made a pro debut for Borneo FC at the weekend. The production line is certainly working. Matsara. Jose Mendy at pace. Rijaz just edging forward on the right side. They stick with the left for the moment. Nabil sharply onto it, but he needed to keep it. Recycled by Rasul. Good win back there by Garuda. Last touch from Izof Gulzar. Should be a Garuda ball here. Rijal was waiting again. The ball didn't reach him. In the background, some of the other pitches in use here at this state-of-the-art elite performance centre. The Brighton DNA. This is where they build it so successfully. First team 7th in the Premier League at this moment. A figurative and literal rebuild from the ground up at this football club over the last 25 years or so. Stadium, training complex, youth development, the entire footballing culture. The beautiful Farmer Stadium, not far away. The home ground of the first team. And the club policy is to get people into the first team wherever possible. Garuda again with a man down, and again the referee's going to stop it here. Ben Mendy seems in a fair amount of discomfort here, I'm afraid. As you can probably hear for yourself. This doesn't look very good, I'm afraid. Much like the conditions of 3 years ago, the wind and the rain are hammering in bursts. Hanif is told to get ready. And very much to our point previously, the players left out need to be ready. Clearly this is not good.
Get up. Boys. Tell us, if you come. Yes, yes.
They're going to come in for a little briefing here while the treatment continues on the field. Prime players trying to stay warm. Temperatures shot up and down over the last few days. Well, there's a lot of sympathy for him. But certainly mixed fortunes all round in recent games for Ben Mendy. In the bad books, left out, back in the side today, made a terrific start to the game, and now the injury, which allows Hanif, perhaps earlier than foreseen, the chance to get back out there. Difficult one for Ferre, but he put the brakes on, did the right thing, hoping Ridjar can help out here. Ridjar in turn got some good help from Hanif. People working hard for each other. Good sign today for Garuda. Nabil with a little trick or two. Brighton play their way around the pressure, to quote the coach's phrase, very nicely indeed there. But it's what's happening next is their issue. Not even at the halfway line, and they're being closed and harried by the Garuda Select. In quite impressive fashion, I must say. Rasul gives away a free kick, but no damage there. Have a little look at the dainty footwork here of Nabil. Referee trying to close and squeeze. Gulzar stayed cool. Diego trying to show he's the boss today. So far, so good. And we know what a powerful figure he can be in both penalty boxes. Brighton come down their right side. Not a great touch that by Gulzar. I must say the way Garuda Select are hunting in packs today is really impressive. They've got that message out there. Team game like no other. And boys and girls watching with us on Mola today, watching the Garuda Select, maybe dreaming of being a part of it one day. Who knows, maybe the girls as well. Then that is a key factor in this game. Working with your teammates. Mills has got a few goals from centre-back this season for Brighton, I understand. Bit short of goal threat at the moment. Here's Bashir. Very well defended again from Garuda's point of view. And, of course, confidence boosted with the goal so early today. Matsara gives chase. And again, for the opposing goalkeeper, Ferdinand, that was not easy. Ball's bouncing and skipping along. And he's not quite able to win it, but he did put his man under pressure. It's a very pleasing start, I must say, today. Forget the goal for a moment. The general play from Garuda, tigerish, determined. Everything we've seen from them on their good days. Different tempo to the game in Italy. You know, they got those great results against Inter and Milan, Matteo's homeland. The game is forced at a higher pace here. It was very difficult for the boys to adjust back to that in the first couple of weeks. What a job they've done. And they've had to show other attributes. Certainly not Italian-like conditions today here down on the south coast again. Gulzar into the front, and Diego's there and waiting for it again. Just needed to keep that, Diego. There's always room for improvement in everybody's performance at every level, we understand that. But at the moment, against some of the better young footballers in England at this level, pound for pound, these Garuda players are showing up very well indeed. Good win by Hanif. So important to keep it in play there. Lotra was on his way. Taskar. Played it okay through the middle of the park, Brighton. But beyond that, not really. Not yet, anyway. Penman. All the avenues are shut down. Really good shape from Garuda. That is hard work, day in, day out, in preparation for this game from Des Walker and from Danny Holmes, all the coaching staff weighing in. Charlie Penman had to go back. Mills leaves it. Moulton having to come really deep to get things happening. Mills shut down by Rija. Hanif needs to get back goal side, as he does eventually. Taskar forcing the mistake, really good. Falaza couldn't keep it. And again, all off this platform today. This will be a conclusive angle, of course. A goal for the boy who was the birthday boy during the week, Rafley, turned 18. He and Ragil, who's on the bench today. There was a little ceremony to mark the occasion. A pitch-shaped birthday cake. The win today would be the birthday present that everybody wants. Gorman did well. Nicely fed to Lotra. Now he may as well have a go here. Brighton know about his pace. Backed off. Absolutely has to keep the ball there, Lotra. Matsara did excellently to get across. We spoke to Lee Hendry pre-game on Mola about his attributes as a creative force, but when he's on his feet, he can tackle a bit, he can close people down quite well. Fede not messing about, into touch, into safety. I know we're mainly focused on youth development here on Mola, bringing the game forward in Indonesia and elsewhere, but older viewers watching with us may marvel at all this setup here today in the modern era for Brighton and Hove Albion. Look at it out beyond our own stadium pitch here, if you like. Truly incredible. Bearing in mind that Brighton and Hove Albion were basically out of business and in the fourth tier of English football only 25 years ago. Bankruptcy loomed. Looked like it could have been the end of a very proud club indeed. Matsara, into the box he goes. Just a little glimpse, just a little reminder for Brighton. First little glimmer of him in and around the fringes of the opposition penalty box. Danny Holmes directing operations right beneath our camera position there. Such dedication from all the staff through the season. Gulzar, a shade pedestrian from Brighton. And that's to the credit of Garuda. Now a bit of an injection of pace. Lee arrives on the outside. Nice build-up from Brighton this time. Worth an effort, but it's a miscue really from Gulzar. Correction from Owusu, my apology. All's well at the moment. Not been a lot for Matteo to think about or worry about. Rijat, right-footed, sliding in. Doesn't like his defenders to be off their feet, but if they are off their feet, they've got to make sure they do the job. Dennis was out in Italy at the weekend. Como played a really thrilling game, actually, against promotion second favourites Genoa. See plenty for Como to aim at in the closing weeks of the season. That's a little foul by Rijat. Ferrig slid in, but I think perhaps it was against Rijat. We shall see. Either way, free kick for Brighton. Harry Mills is going to take it. Well defended. Moulton skips away from Rijat, needed to be stopped there. Matsara's got to try to help out, he couldn't. Moulton went too far with the ball at his feet. Ferry blasts it clear. And that's a let-off for Rijat. Tasker probing down the other flank for Brighton, who are injecting a bit more pace into it. And need to. Owusu forward again. Bashir was shaping to have a swipe at that on the edge of the box. Garuda could do with winning the ball back, and very well played there by Rafley. Moulton away from Rijat. Rijat looked immediately to Matsara to help him out. I did mention Matsara's defensive instincts. You know, for a creative player, one who likes to find that special pass or get a goal or a shot off. He's quite aware of that side of the game, and that's going to really serve him well on the road ahead over the next few years. And these big milestones do come up so very quickly in a young player's career. Bashir can't get on the end of it again. All these players, if not aware, need to be made aware. I'm sure most of them are aware. They're highly touted youngsters at this moment, but in 6 months there'll be another group. They'll be required to step on, step up, develop, show the benefit of all their hard work, or they'll be caught by others. That's life for young players in the game every single year. And what it really means is all players are only as good as their last performance. Every performance at a level like this scrutinised by coaches and scouts far and wide. There are a few secrets. Most clubs have huge data banks on rival clubs' players. Ferre. Bashir is down. Rasul was not for moving, was he? Just left it a little bit on his man. The card is out. I'm happy to report no sign of ill discipline. It wasn't a particularly good challenge, but you've got to compose yourself, and Rasul did do that, even accepting the yellow. So quite an eventful first 35 minutes or so today for the midfield engine room. Ben Mendy sadly carried off. We have no update yet from Sultan on his injury. Rasul on a yellow. Hanif the early change for Garuda. Probably a good decision by the referee, actually. Roughly. Not going to reach Lotra there. That's a bit of a giveaway, isn't it? But they're so sharp to shut them down today, Garuda. Roughly again. A lot of very good moments this season. Hoping to finish on a high. Lotra's won it back. Gives it to Nabil. Nicely done by Hanif, that. Simple pass. Gets it back here. Again, just keeps it ticking over. Here's Rijar. Can be very effective going forward, Rijar. Trying to slide it up toward Matsara. Well played by Mills. Comes away with it. Again, shut down so well by Nabil. Testing conditions for all today, including our camera staff, I must add that. I will add the meeting in 2019 here. Very similar conditions, but they're not identical because we had hailstones as well, and I don't think we're going to get that this afternoon. We literally had all 4 seasons in about 25 minutes. We're getting 3 seasons today. A little bit of sun, a little bit of shade, and quite a lot of rain and wind. But Garuda are coping with it all very well indeed. Penman. Again, he was squeezed. Again, same story. Brilliant win. Rafley this time. Excellent from Garuda Select. Now they keep it. Lotra. Rijar arrived on the right side. Rafley wanted to look for a penetrating pass. Diego to Ferre. Just got to keep the ball moving. Matteo. Oh, different day. That might have been very inviting indeed for Lotra. Mills. Moulton. Again, starting from the halfway line. Plenty of goals in him in recent weeks. 5 in the last 4 games, I understand. That was a giveaway by him. Nabil can't get to that one. Tasker keeps going. Rasul also keeps going. Tasker had a hold of his jersey there. And now, key moment right there, the discipline. And Rasul right back at it. Remember, he's on a yellow card, but his focus was excellent. We know the lessons they've had to learn. Lee. Moulton. Rijar's the defender. Lee again. Brighton forced back and sideways. Tasker. Matteo did really, really well. mental aspect so important for a goalkeeper. I know he'll have thought deeply about what went wrong last week. That's outstandingly good. So 40 minutes plus have been played here. Brighton have not really carved out a proper chance yet. And they've known some very good strikers here in recent times. The master of defending will be well pleased with that one. The clean sheet so far. Lives and dies by that. Not so long ago, the top striker in the academy was Evan Ferguson, and he's made very rapid progress as a Premier League player this season. Now Gorman. Gorman in that Ferguson role. Yeah, quite interesting backstory about Gorman, actually. He's qualified, I understand, to play for England or Ireland. Ferguson, the newly capped Ireland centre-forward, showing the rapid rate of progress for him. There are one or two others with dual nationality in this Brighton side today. Sooner or later they're going to have to choose. A la Declan Rice or Jack Grealish, perhaps, who could have played for either England or Ireland. It's a mighty feather in the cap, of course, a club like Brighton and Hove Albion, to get a young player right through, not just into the Premier League, one of their own. They've done that several times, but to get a player capped at international level who looks to have major potential. The coaching staff here, Arthur Brammer, Mikey Harris on the touchline today, the academy manager Chris Crowe, Mikey Beard and others over the years here, I know. All have played a part. We've had one or two stoppages for injuries, sadly, in this first half. So Lotra now coming to the touchline. And he is actually being replaced by Rayhan. So we'll try and just update you as to whether there's any injury question over Lotra. But Rayhan on the field in the first half. So a new look up front suddenly. But Rayhan and Nabil, no strangers to each other. Lotra's looking a bit downcast. We've seen that look before, haven't we? Ticking around to 45 minutes. 3 additional minutes to play. Largely down to the injury to Ben Mendy, I think. Matsara, there's what he's so good at. And we know he's also good at hitting the target from those positions, but don't underestimate his ability out of possession there. He was onto his man so quickly, and he put in a really good challenge. Rija, nicely done. Ryan a bit unlucky there. Mills. Bashir. That's a bit risky. That's nicely gathered by Gulzar. Brighton keeping the ball moving well, but it's 6-7 passes in their own half. They go into opposition territory, and it's snuffed out immediately by Garuda Select. It's a mixed bag of results at under 18 level for Brighton this season. The competition is hot, but I think we have to credit Garuda Select for their very tigerish approach today. Rija has got a free kick. No need to rush this. Des Walker wants it played up the line. Rija headed it as directed. Rasul, good pass. A little bit of time on the clock for Garuda to finish strong. Here's the new man. Oh, Rayhan did well, and Nabil working with him well. Incidentally, Lotra taken off for tactical reasons, I understand. No injury question, and that probably explains why he looked so sorry for himself. Taken off early again. Not the first time this season, as I'm sure you are aware. That is half-time, and it's a half of very good work today from the Garuda Select. A full match indeed, thanks to Danny. We've mentioned the importance of the conditions today. I'm not a weather forecaster by trade, but I did suggest the possibility, given the geographic location, that the wind direction and speed could change. Going to be changing goal as well. Hugo Fischer is going to come on for Lawrence Ferdinand. Fischer's also wearing the captain's armband, incidentally. So a little later than scheduled. It is the second half here. Garuda Select turn round, a goal in front, and with a very good performance already today, but they need to keep it going. Couple of changes by Brighton at the break. Stressing again, Premier League Brighton after Premier League Bournemouth and Premier League Southampton. Mixed results in those games, but a really good performance today so far from Garuda. They've looked a very polished outfit indeed, Brighton, with a lot of accomplished footballers. Not much cutting edge so far. Confirmation of the home side's changes. Just a sense that this is a game when Nabil might have something to say, might have a big impact on proceedings. can be a little bit of a sleeper in a game, not in terms of his effort, but in terms of his influence on play. And then suddenly he's awake and things happen. That's a really good trait to have in a striker. I was watching Karim Benzema the other night playing for Real Madrid. He got a hat-trick out of nowhere. Sleepwalked through 20 minutes against Barcelona. And indeed, he'd got the same kind of hat-trick in, I believe, 8 minutes the weekend before in La Liga. But against Barca in the big cup tie, semi-final, hardly touched the ball in first 20 minutes, but he won the game in rapid fashion for Real Madrid. Matsara. Good win by Wusu. On he goes. Ferre's head. Wusu again. Has threatened to burst through on the edge of the box a couple of times. But they've kept him quiet. They've kept their top scorer, Romero Moulton, quiet. Garuda. Here's Diego. Given away by Jose Mendy. Moulton starting in the middle at the first part of this second half anyway. Held up by Rayhan. Rijard just got there. Here's Diego. Jose Mendy. Not really seeing him galloping forward, as we know he loves to do so effectively. He was pulled back then by Bashir. Didn't like that much, did he? Don't blame him. The time might come in this game where he can make his impact. Now, let's see how this ball plays in the conditions. It did die rather, didn't it, in the wind? Jose Mendy following it in nicely. Matsara. Square passes like that are not really going to work his second half. They need to tune into these testing conditions a little bit, Garuda. Lofted in the air by Rafley. Incidentally, the update from pitch side concerning Ben Mendy, carried off, is that he is able to put a bit of weight on his ankle. It's a damaged ankle. We don't know how severe. But maybe the prognosis is a little bit more hopeful than first feared. First time ball by Falasi into the box. Brighton seeking to up the tempo here early in the second period. Here's one of the changes, Mutunzi. Rasul. There's a foul on Rasul. Ferre was so sharp, sliding in there. They're not second-guessing, they're not waiting around. Everybody's covering everybody. Watch what happens here. Rasul and Ferre on the stretch. And again, Rijard, very good. Rijard covering in behind Ferre. Just elements to Rijard's game. If he could sort those out, who knows what could be ahead for him. I'm sure all the current Garuda players are very aware of the progress made in terms of professional senior contracts by so many of the players who've worn the jersey over the last 3 or 4 years. It is quite remarkable. So many of them making their way at international level now for Indonesia. A clean sheet will do the job very nicely indeed if they could get that. And they went through those weeks when they were so difficult to score against. Gillingham 3-0. Queen's Park Rangers 2-0. Huddersfield 6-0. Bournemouth 2-0. Diego. Such smart defending by Diego. He rather enjoyed that, didn't he? Look at the smile on his face. A lot of coaches say that about defenders. You've got to enjoy defending. It's Brighter from Brighton. A bit more energy going forward, but so far Garuda coping pretty well. Rija. Bashir kept it in, but they were closed down so well by Garuda. Little ball played by Hanif, not a bad one either. Rayhan up front alongside Nabil certainly does add a little bit to the defensive shape, I think. Making it harder for Brighton to play out as they like to do. Matonzi. Looks to have a little bit about him, the number 7, Ashraf Falazi. Roughly. Sideways by Tasker, further on by Mills. And he felt the far side for Garuda, tenaciously working back. No free kick. Again, they shut the door, and the front two working well. Rayhan and Ragil there. Rayhan just got it stuck under his feet a little bit. Nabil didn't give up on it. Actually well judged by the goalkeeper, Fisher. Falazi down the line. Brighton claimed the throw. Diego withdraws. Howell, nicely done. Tempting to hit one here. And Mills couldn't resist the temptation, but he didn't make a great job of that, in all honesty. Seen harmlessly over by Matteo. A lot of red shirts there in the picture, and that tells you something, how tight Garuda are together, how hard they're working for each other, how difficult they're making it for this talented Brighton side. Fede tempted to go forward there, keeping the shape paramount in his mind. Good discipline. Fede again. Bashir. Matunzi. Falazi. Diego shuts his man down well. Des Walker would have loved that. Des Walker used to do it. Look at him right here. He's still got it all these years later. And if there's ever any doubt when it comes to free kicks, corners, etc., then we ask the big boss to get out on the field and show the boys how to do it. Because he was one of the masters of the art during his playing days, Dennis Wise. You are learning from the best. Here's Matsara. Superb. Superb. Real classy touch. A little bit unlucky, perhaps, Rayhan, that he didn't keep it, but it worked out all right. The intent was good. Just reminded, you could see immediately, just reminded from the touchline. How about that from Matsara? Now just get your body over it. Don't need to rush it. Diego got away with that, I think. That was the position, of course. He gave the ball to Southampton and they ended up scoring last week. So far, so good today for Garuda. Good composure all around the field. Tunzi. Howell. Looks very much in the Brighton mould. They've produced so many midfield players of his type. Attack-minded midfield players. Young Harry Howell. Now attacking the other way with a little bit of pace. Rapley. Garuda win a corner. Very good build-up play there. Well played. Hanif. Russell fed him. Kept it in play really, really well and delivered something which tested Brighton.
Don't make it easy for me both ways. Don't make it easy for me both ways. That's fucking contact. Let it go short.
So Matsara. First corner of the second half for Garuda. And they'll get another go. Remember, folks, how dangerous Diego can be. Matsara again, bit deeper this time. Slightly tentative push, but the goalkeeper did get the ball out of his box, in fairness. And Diego closing down from the front. Two more changes, as you can see, for Brighton. Romero Moulton has gone off for Adam West. Tusker. Callum Mackley is number 17. He's come on for Harry Mills. Quite a lot of Brighton changes now, in fairness. Might take them a few minutes to settle into some rhythm again. That was a rather dramatic fall, wasn't it, by Wusu, and he didn't convince the referee of anything. Mutunzi. Tusker. Gave himself a lot to do there, Falaza. And again, outnumbered, simply good organisation from Garuda Select's point of view. Full focus maintained from the back forward from Diego and Ferre, who are good leaders. That's a better touch. It's Gulzar in a bit of space on the edge of the box. Rasul trying to close him down. Now Rijal with some defending to do as Brighton threaten, and they've not threatened very much in this second half. And again, Matteo doesn't have to do much, the goalkeeper. Just got to be wary that there might be a little bit more to come from this Brighton side today, Garuda, but at the moment they're coping really, really well. Nabil wins a throw. Throw it forward, says Des Walker. Jose Mendy. Better do as he has been instructed here. Well, actually, he didn't. Might be a word in his ear. Brighton have the ball back. Matsara sees to that. Excellent. Ferre was under pressure, but he kept it. Harry Howell urged to press from the front for Brighton. Given away by Garuda. But Brighton don't keep it. Not a great touch that by West. And obviously not a very good touch by Rasul, but Jose Mendy does try to play forward. It's cut out by Tasca. Rijal put his head on it, didn't clear it, but again he's helped out by a teammate or two. Brighton win it back. No free kick for Garuda. But what a cruncher of a challenge that was from Ferre. Brilliant. Counter-attack potentially on. Rayhan. There's a Garuda man down on the edge of the box. Rasul this time. Difficult ball. Clattered into the man as he tried to whip that clear with his left foot. Wouldn't want to leave the field, that's for sure, Rasul. Rijal. Rasul right back in it, followed up well. They do seem very tuned in still, Garuda. Jose Mendy. Must be careful about giving it away. Matsara defensively in midfield today. Really, really good. Still a feeling that Brighton players are just looking for something, looking for a little bit of extra pattern in their play, looking for somebody to do the really special pass. Nicely done by Mackley, who's in on the left side for Brighton. And they do make some headway on the left now for the home side. Still possibilities here. Oh, Matteo pushes it away first time and second time. And Garuda reacts so quickly. The shot came in from Gulzar and it seemed bound for the net. Matteo kept it out. First big save he's had to make. The headway down the left. Missed by Bashir, but they did recycle it well, Brighton. Excellent work from Matteo, but look how quickly those red shirts are back in to help out their goalkeeper, as indeed they were in that 6-yard box for the goal they've scored today. Corner, didn't sound like it had been a good connection, and it wasn't really. Here's Rafley. Possibilities here for Garuda. Nabil got stuck under his feet, but he's got a free kick. I think somebody stood on his hand there. Not ideal in these conditions. Short to Jose Mendy. We haven't seen Mendy driving forward like this much today, but here he goes now. Crosses it. Oh, it's a great cross as well. Bit unlucky that. And as this game opens up in the last 20-25 minutes, we might be seeing more of it, I think. Gozar. Howell tries to drop it off on the edge of the box, but again, they just read it that little bit more quickly, Garuda. Honey bundled to the ground. Josh Lewis and Matthew Hayden are coming on for the last 23 minutes plus stoppage time. Lewis wears 18. Harry Lee has gone off. And Matthew Hayden for Charlie Tasker. These are important minutes for all these Brighton players, for lots of reasons. Being scrutinised by their own coaching staff at Brighton and potentially by others if there is not to be a future for them at Brighton, and they need to make a good impression. Here's Bashir. Jose Mendy shifts into that higher gear. Just so good. Falaza down the Brighton right has been quite bright for them, but no way has he got the better of Jose Mendy today so far. That's a little bit of a giveaway. A little moment like that just might encourage Brighton. Hayden. Nabil working hard, working back. On by Matunzi. Mackley. Gulzar. Matsara again was prowling, threatening to nick in and get the ball off him. Real belief today from Garuda in how they're playing. They know how hard they've worked, and who knows, it might force an error or two. Just a little momentary slip by Fisher, the goalkeeper. He gets away with it, but they nick the ball back. I have a sense that something good could happen here for Garuda. Raffley. Russell keeps it well, finds Diego. All the way across to Fede. Bounces off Rayhan. Hayden again. Dark skies again. Falaza. Jose Mendy says, I am the boss. The rain is beginning to whip in again. The wind has picked up again. Nice sheltering spot for Dennis. He needs the overcoat, though. It is also quite cold. Now, in this wind, this needs to be watched by the keeper. He did well there, but Matsara was onto him so quickly. That's off Rijar's head. It's not ideal from Rijar's point of view, that, but the ball goes out of play. He didn't let it bounce, and in fairness to Rijar, that's a reasonable outcome. It gives Garuda the chance to regroup. Conditions still a factor. Falaza. Hayden. Mendy on the deck, needs to get on his feet quickly. That is really good from Rasul. So determined, so focused, so hungry. And it is the hunger that the Garuda players are showing. Hunger for the result. Hunger to work for each other. Hunger to sort out trouble. Rasul again. Nabil slipped. Rasul again. Hoisting it into the wind, and it's really dying on the wind again now, isn't it? And Rayhan battling for it for all he's worth. Not going to take that from there. Also, the ball was moving. Goes out for Brighton. Hayden. Not on Rafley. They really want this today, these Garuda players. For me, that's the most gratifying element of this performance. They want to say, we went to Brighton and we won. A lot of teams in the Premier League can't say that. Howell made a run, the ball didn't come. But as Lee Henry pointed out at half-time, playing the ball forward into spaces is a problem. And even that short pass runs through to Matteo, who positioned himself expertly there. Really read that well. We all love seeing goals go in, and at times this season, Garuda Select have been really, really good in front of goal. But for professional footballers, sometimes winning 1-0, especially in testing conditions, is much more satisfying. If they do win 1-0, they should be lauded for what they've done today. Into space, Nabil on the move, and Jose Mendy on the move after him. Nabil laid that off. Oh, it's a bit unlucky, really. Keep an eye on Jose Mendy, though, folks. He started to find those spaces late on here.
Because the wind will take it. Set it off in the middle and the wind will take it over there. But make sure when you're rolling it out, get them over there if you can. Get them together.
Given away, but it is a Brighton free kick. But they were closing them down again. Matsara. Matsara's performance level through this season has been all around what he could do with the ball at his feet. But today, out of possession, really impressive. Matteo. Not easy. Brighton get the ball back high up the field. The Hoods are coming up again on the touchline, aren't they? Sultan and Echa included. Still a long way in this game to go. 15 minutes plus stoppages. Rasul won it. Very well indeed. Nicely done by Rija. Now Matsara with the ball at his feet. Shut down well by Brighton. Fede covering his man perfectly. And Matteo judged it expertly. West. No way through. Matsara. Rayhan trying to get the better of Mackley. He can't do that. Mackley did well there. Better ball, but Matteo sweeping up to the inch. Difficult one in the air again for Rijar. Did pretty well with that, did Rijar. Brighton ball. Rain hammering down. Look at Ferre. Blocker. And Matteo on the way. Matsara picks it up. Garuda break into opposition territory. Nice and short is required in these conditions. Raffley, good play by him, back to feet. Brighton did do that well in the first half, remember. That's not a good one by Matsara. Too slow and not to feet. Lots his copybook with that. Another stoppage in play here.
That one in there.
Quite a few of these today. Honey felt it. Sultan's out there to do some translating. Another little team meeting as we wait. Just sees so much, Des. Such a depth of knowledge, of course. Little details that might be lost on the rest of us, but it's the details that make the players. Anybody can see the big picture. In most details, this fella's been excellent today. And when required, coming up with his biggest save of the day. And really good reactions from all those Garuda defenders. Switching on. You never know what you're going to get in English football conditions. End of a long winter, and it's got a very wintry feel indeed right now. In fairness, it was an exceptionally rough spell of weather through the whole month of March. They might have been hoping for better weather in the springtime. Normally we do get that, but it's the wettest March on record in the UK. And April is not exactly Mediterranean either. So far, well played, the Italian centre-back. Diego again. Not going to get very far with that one. Ten minutes. Time to refocus. 80 minutes, they've done extremely well today, Garuda. Next 10 minutes will decide it all. Dropping ball for the defenders as well, not easy. Rayhan onto it well. Here's Nabil. It's a good recovery, that, by Hayden. But a giveaway, and well read by Raffley. Jose Mendy wanting to whip it in first time, which he does, and it was a good cross. Matsara couldn't quite get to it, but it's going to run out for a Garuda ball. No need for Rijar to rush this. Gives it to Hanif. Rijar again. Not a good cross. Ferry's going to recover, but Diego was there anyway. Matteo finds touch at least. really is whipping in again now, the next wave of the storm. We're in for a lot of this apparently in the rest of the week. Don't think training will be much fun in that sense for the next couple of days for the boys once they get back to Loughborough, but the spirits will be high if they can go home with this victory today. And everybody looking forward to the Arsenal game next week. Arsenal will be watching this today knowing that they're going to be in a game. Incidentally, an Arsenal side that just reached the FA Youth Cup final. Set to play West Ham. Diego wins it on the ground, but it's back with West. West again. A whistle. Good build-up from Brighton. Oh, it would have been a terrific goal. Bit unlucky that for Laze, who's had some bright moments, actually. Whipped in a great cross there. Difficult to judge on the breeze. Howell was coming in. Doesn't miss it by much, does he? Diego looks slightly relieved. Difficult conditions to kick it long or play it short, really. Really between the devil and the deep blue sea in terms of making a decision like that. Short and to feet might help Garuda get through this passage of play. To the feet of Hayden. Goalkeeper again is ready. Slightly caught in two minds there, I think, Falaza, the number 7 for Brighton. He's going to kick it again. Did well there. Decent pass by Rafferty. Bit unlucky that for Rayhan. Just missed the bounce of the ball. That's an area where we've seen it a few times today with Rayhan, actually, that if he could just get his body over the ball a bit better to protect the ball coming into him, it would help him and help the team, I think. That's something he can work on. Brighton seeking to stitch it together. Coming looking for a leveller. Ferre's head. Well done, Ridjar. Again, not letting the ball bounce. It's the basics. He's done well here. We often laud his ability as a footballer and sometimes question his defending nous, but he showed a lot of that here. Second half has Ridjar. So Raheem is set to come on. Hanif, who came on very early today for Ben Mendy, has now substituted himself. I should think a similar role. Remember, Hanif had that little injury problem a couple of minutes ago. Matsara again doggedly defending in the corner. It is a free kick to Brighton. Raheem needs to turn around and see what's going on behind him. Gulzar takes it over the top of the crossbar. It goes. High fives for the defenders. They're enjoying defending today. They want to go home with that clean sheet. It was a pretty good free kick, actually. Let's see what the corner's like. Howell's going to get another go. There's a great ball in that. And Brighton are going to retain the possession. It reached Howell. No, not for Falaza. Diego goes short with this. Jose Mendy down the line. Nabil slipped. Always likely to happen. Needs to get up and get on with it, Nabil. Flick to the outside by Hayden. Diego comes across. Give away. And very well struck from the edge of the box by Gulzar. They're really pressing hard here late on Brighton. Mateo didn't have to make a save. But it was a threatening moment. Shifted to the left by Owusu. Can they keep the ball? Can they guide their way through here now, Garuda, to a fabulous victory? Raheem shut down too quickly. Not a second to lose for Brighton. 88.5 on the clock. Free kick to the home side. Ragil is coming on. And it looks like Nabil is going to come off. He did look a bit weary here near side to us, didn't he? 2 or 3 moments ago when he went over. That is going to drift harmlessly out. All the hard work done by the substitutes, the guys who are not starting the games, is always very significant in a season like this for Garuda Select. And now is the time to get their reward for it, because they're being introduced off the bench today. The likes of Raheem, Ragil in a moment, and Rayhan, who came on earlier, of course. The change comes now. This is Ragil. He's got to play his part.
He's standing on you. Tell the referee that he's standing there, because he should be offside.
No goal for Nabil today, but a lot of real endeavour. Jose Mendy throws it, and Ragil wasn't ready for it, in all honesty. Matsada. And he's going to get another go, and he's just telling Ragil, hey, be on your toes here. And he is this time, gets it. Back to Jose Mendy. Rasul. Conditions are really difficult. Well done, Raheem, for just recovering that. Here comes Rija. No free kick for him, but he used the ball well. And in it goes, Ragil. He's going to score! A sensational moment for Ragil, the moment of his season. He too had a birthday in midweek. Would you believe it? The 2 birthday boys have got the goal. Garuda Select lead 2-0 at Brighton. Look what it means to all of them. It's a brilliant goal coming off the bench. The backroom boys, if you like. The boys who spent a lot of the season on the bench really making their mark here. He won't show it, but he is thrilled, absolutely thrilled with this. Brilliant. And Rija really classy, believing his ability with the ball at his feet. Lovely little thread through by Rayhan. He'd only been on the field about 40-odd seconds, but Ragil with the moment of his season. Yes, an up-and-down season it has been for him, but he took a step, he took his time, and he finished it. Wonderful. So much hard work has gone into that by so many people.
Well done.
Surely there's too much for Brighton to do now, however long we actually do play in stoppage time. Here's Matsara. Rija. Always composed with the ball at his feet. It's been a good display from Gulzar for Brighton's second half, but it looks like being in vain now. Hayden. A lot of these Brighton players have got a chance of a future in the game at quite a high level, but they've more than met their match today with these young players from Indonesia and elsewhere. Italy, Africa, the potent mix of the Garuda Select brought together. So much dedicated training through a long, hard season in difficult conditions. The trips to Italy to play the best in the game in Italy. They're playing one of the best in the game in England at this moment, and they're winning the game justifiably. It's very nearly all over here. Matsara. Rasul. Ragil playing the percentages. That's all he has to do. Smart. A moment for him to savour forever, whatever the future holds for him. Darrell is going to get another very late run out, if there is indeed time. The referee's had a look at the watch. Came on late against Southampton last week. Jose Mendy. Free kick. They can make that change. Way over the 93 here. Darrell. For Matsara. Garuda Select have won a famous victory today at Brighton and Hove Albion. It looked to be the biggest test of the season, but they came prepared to give their very, very best display of the season. An all-round team effort of the highest quality today. Defensively so sound. They got a flying start as Raffley whipped one in on the wind inside the first couple of minutes. They had to play the conditions as well as the opposition. They were so tight defensively when Brighton turned the screw in the second half. The changes timed to perfection off the bench, and Ragil with a real quality finish. And given the road that they have had to travel this season, and remembering the long road to the south coast for 3 real testing games in a row, let nobody underestimate what the Garuda Select have achieved here today.